doesn't change in size very much. It's just reoriented. And they wanted this formal space, which is basically just decorative gravel with bluestone path that goes across the central axis into the front door. Otherwise, this is all decorative gravel within here. Unfortunately, that does count against us for impervious, but.
And the green is also gravel?
That would be lawn.
That is lawn?
It is lawn.
Okay.
Yes. The staircase that exists now, it actually bends up and around. We're just creating a really nice, simple straight line, pushing it away so you get a nice view through the property. And we have a fairly small pool, which is only 9 feet wide from edge to edge within it, and 42 feet long. So it's basically going to serve as a lap pool, which is basically the only thing you can fit in this property. And that is, with the exception of the additional plantings that are added to this, that is the extent of the improvements. Now,
what is to the east of the pool?
This?
Yeah.
It's an existing bank of planting. So currently there's a row of carpinus, a hedge underneath it, and this is a mass of various shrubs. It's mostly juniper. It's existing.
It goes up pretty steeply from there, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it does.
Okay. Let me ask this. You've got a bunch of numbers in the application.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at the existing condition chart, and I'm on page LP 1.1.
Mm-hmm.
The existing condition chart and then the proposed conditions, which are sort of in the middle.
Yeah.
Okay? You're adding 559 square feet to the pool. If it's 42 by 9, that's not as much as 559, but I guess.
That doesn't include the coping.
Right, good, okay, so the coping is in there.
The coping is in the number, yes. The footage for the pool of the interior space that I mentioned.
Now, there are two numbers. You've got a patios and walks number of 2236,
Mm-hmm.
which becomes 1968.
Mm-hmm.
They're diminishing that by 268. And then you have an other retaining walls, air conditioning pads, and so forth, which is 1802, and that is being reduced to 1749. Can you show us how these eliminations or reductions are taking place? I mean, where are you removing things?
If you look at the, simply on the same page, the demolition plan, you'll see that this, that terrace it's all brick. Even if you just, look on that. The existing terrace is almost completely hardscape with the exception of a small planting bed just in here. So by eliminating that entire terrace, we've definitely found room to reduce the coverage. I'm looking because I know the answer. It's just I have to refresh. All of the walls in the back are remaining. Those aren't being touched. And that's simply because it's, the only flat space that they have in that part of the yard, and that's existing. I'm sure as you're aware, this property, it's just got so many retaining walls that already exist to be able to create usable space. I was actually going through those numbers and seeing exactly how many retaining walls were, from the right to the front door all the way down the slope. There's 4 retaining walls. I think 21 feet of grade change alone, because I guess the grade change across the property from the top there is it's 34 feet from basically above the
So
front
the
door.
elevation from the back to the front door is roughly 34 feet different?
From here
Mm-hmm.
to here.
Oh, I see, going west.
Right, so if you were to consider it's 34 feet higher here than here, and this is why these are two 4-foot retaining walls here, and there's 8 feet here. This is another 6 feet. And it's the only way that this property, and basically that's mostly all existing. I'm trying to answer your question otherwise. I believe a lot of that number came out of that front courtyard, because otherwise, I believe that small wall also along the driveway, altering that changed the dimensions of that wall.
Okay, well, let me, if you would look on the equivalent of this page, LP 1.1.
Yes.
I'll tell you what my specific questions are. First of all, you've got, under the heading Strawberry Lane, in sort of what I call the second column, proposed conditions. Your numbers are off. The 6231, if that's the right coverage number, and the driveway of 2083, that does not add up to 8213. It's actually 8314.
You're right. And you know, I had gone back and forth with the building department and their engineer and made all those revisions. I never updated that number, so my apologies. That includes the driveway. I know I updated the 6231, not the total with the driveway included, so my apologies.
So, but the number for your proposed coverage going to 128.5 from 123.6, that still is correct, is that right?
I'm sorry, which number?
You've got existing coverage is 5993,
Yes.
123.6%
Yes.
of allowable, all right?
Yes.
And the proposed coverage you have is 6231,
Yes, that's correct.
and that's 128.5.
Yes.
So you're increasing this by about 5%.
Yes.
Okay. Now, on this diagram, above the numbers we were just looking at, I tried to track the various walls and walks and other things and their square footages to what is in the existing condition chart.
Mm-hmm.
And most of them track, but there are some differences. And this may be what you were pointing out before. If you look right at the bottom of the diagram.
Yes, that would definitely be an area that changed.
Okay.
Yes.
And your walk and wall.
Yep, that's new.
That's new. That's
Yes.
more. Right. Okay.
Right, and that's to be able to access the door comfortably, because currently it's a grassy slope and there's no path.
Okay.
It's just a sloped area.
If you look on the existing condition coverage calculations, there is a statistic, a number for wall other, 95 square feet. That doesn't appear on the chart to the right, and yet the line for the wall appears there.
Can you show me?
Yeah.
Which wall is that?
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's included, I think I added them together.
Okay, you check that out. Let me show John.
Yes,
where
I
I'm
did
talking.
that.
John, here's the wall other,
Yeah,
95 square feet
right,
right there.
I see.
And you don't find that number
Right.
over on the chart to
Yeah.
the right. It's
Wall other is 39.
pointing to this wall right here, which is still there, but just not.
Okay, it's
This one.
because it's turned into 86, because I separated it from that, because the wall changes here, and this used to be, if you look at that plan, you see how this came over farther and attached this staircase, and then this has changed in the orientation, and that's why the number reduced slightly.
Okay, but this 95
So it
is
is
not
different.
ignored altogether.
No, it is not
It's
at all.
actually reduced
Not
by
at all.
9.
It's
Okay.
reduced.
Now, over here, we don't see any of these walls and walks. These,
Yeah, they're just shown differently because this was, they're right here. And that was taken from the previously submitted plans that the architect put together. So that is, these walls are just basically shown over here instead of up here, because that's the way that they were
I
going
see.
to.
Okay,
So,
all right.
I was, see, in trying to be very consistent with previously approved plans, my life became very complicated.
Yeah, I see. Okay, well, that's a good explanation for that one. I probably had too much time in my hands here, but I added up all the walls and walks on the right side over here, and they're 397, and then I did the same thing for these, and the equivalent, what I think are the equivalent spots here, and it's 392. So there's a reduction of about 5. And then I guess your patio, the existing patio of 1094, you're replacing that with a walk of 790 square feet. This is still 1094 square feet, but some of it's going to be grass. Is that
Yes,
how you get
and
coverage?
planting, yes.
Okay.
And decorative gravel, that will have drainage in it, even though it's considered impervious.
Right. No, I think the gravel adds to your,
It
adds to the
does,
problem.
and that was reduced, it was changed from stone to gravel to save cost, but they still want to have the ability to walk around that space.
Okay. Now, the driveway, I mean, in coverage numbers, driveways don't count, but the driveway is being really
Increased.
very substantially increased.
Well, currently, I'm sure some of you went to the property.
Yeah.
You come up, and then the way that it's designed, it goes down, and there's a planting bed on one side and grass on the other, and it's extremely uncomfortable and hard to maneuver. And that is just a matter of better functioning to be able to park 2 cars next to each other and get another car out at the same time, because currently they can't. They have to stack their parking.
I was there, what's today, Tuesday? I was there Sunday, and I think they had 4 cars in there. I mean, it's a
I
little
was there
awkward.
today, and I think there were 4 cars there.
You know, and they're out of town, from what I
I'm
understand.
surprised only the housekeeper was there.
Yeah.
I'm just responding to needs and wants and desires.
Yeah.
And resale, potential
They're
resale.
gonna leave after this gets approved? Is that
I
it?
hope not. I hope not.
So the old driveway, the existing driveway is 1697, and the one you propose is 2083, which is about 400 square feet more. Can you just show us where the additional driveway would be? They look roughly similar, right?
So basically, and it's not really on this, but this driveway the existing driveway kind of just does this. And so this is basically just building this out and flatten. It's really a matter of fixing the grade for that driveway to make it more comfortable in terms of using it. Because like I said, right now it goes up and then you park your car and you're facing downhill. And it's just from a user standpoint and functionality, it's just very uncomfortable. And this was the solution that they were interested in, especially to be able to have a real access down to their lower level of their house. So they also are like a more formal look, which is kind of creating this courtyard effect for them.
So show me what part's new on this,
Okay, so this exists
Right.
right here.
right?
This portion is modified.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm sure
I mean, I
I'm
know
going
that
to
house, so.
show you it on a different plan, because I'm sure I have it. Okay, if you look at the sheet from King Compliment and Gregory, it's the site plan,
Is that-
which is, I think, the next sheet.
Yeah.
So you see, there is a thin line within there that shows,
This line right
yes,
here?
that's the
Okay.
existing space. And so it's really just getting
So that's-
refined.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not increasing very much, but it will function for 2 vehicles instead of just one, and it will be flat.
Okay.
The stairway exists now.
No, that's new. That's currently, once you hit that curve, it's just sloped grass.
Yeah, I went around there, I think that's right.
And there's only a small landing at that door, so it's not very user-friendly.
And where are you with the planning board?
We received approval on the condition that we just have to basically submit the plans that you have in front of you. We had to make some revisions.
What did you revise? I mean, are these the revised plans?
Those are the revised
Okay.
plans.
All right.
They were not satisfied with the site plan that we submitted, and so you got it, the latest greatest.
Okay. This is post-planning board.
Yeah.
Okay. Questions or comments from board members? John?
Well, I was not here when they got the original approval, which, as we said, is no longer understand. I guess I have a question about how seriously to take the zoning restrictions, because you're already over by 123%, and you're building a swimming pool, which adds, another, as Bruce said, another 5%. So I'm concerned about that.
Based on what I've looked at and the grading and the existing hardscape, with the exception of the pool, we are removing wall hardscape. We are removing the impervious surfaces of the paths and walks as well. I understand the driveway's growing slightly, but that's purely functional for them.
Well, never mind the driveway, what you had proved back 3 years ago, you had a pool, but you managed the patios and walks differently than you're doing it now, right?
I believe that has something to do with the gravel and the redesign that the clients are interested in moving forward with.
Yeah.
What was the increase from the approval last time?
Actually, the last time, coverage went down 53 square feet.
And that was because, I
It would have.
remember, there were walls that were removed.
It was, yes, but they were also,
Substantial reduction in patios and walks, it looks like.
they also changed the driveway location, added walls, and I believe that their courtyard had a little less hardscape and more planting.
I mean, the patios and walks in the 2015 application were reduced by about 570 square feet. There's a lot taken out. And the retaining wall, the other category, was reduced by about 40 square feet. So the result was you were still in excess of coverage, but if that application had been followed through, you would have reduced the excess of coverage over what it was as an existing matter. And now what's happening here is you're reversing that. And because of the addition of the pool, even though you've got some of the patios and walks out, you haven't reduced that by as much. It's about half.
Well, it's also adding that path to the mudroom entrance at the bottom, and that's added a wall as well.
Right.
And that's just purely, being able to use entrances and egress from your house in an appropriate way with the grade across the property.
Yeah.
If the pool weren't there, we'd be fine.
Well-
We'd be reduced. We wouldn't be at the allowable coverage. We wouldn't. But I
Well,
mean,
and also-
I would say the hardship for this client is the existing walls that exist on this property, that are there already, that were there before they bought the property, have raised coverage significantly. And in order to use the space, I mean, there's a 21% slope from the top of the property down, and that's really significant.
Well, you
That's
need
not
the walls.
usable. You have to, in
You
order
need
to
the
use
walls.
the property.
You don't need the swimming pool, but you need the walls.
Well,
Or the gravel.
here's the thing, if you want to circulate through this or near the house, this is actually functioning as some drainage, which is part of the engineer's plans. The drainage will be within this gravel, and it all is a draining surface, even if it's not considered that by the board. So, that's a functioning as how you walk around that space without being in the grass, because it is still the front of the house, and they do need to walk through it.
I understand that, but the retaining walls, if I'm reading these numbers correctly, the retaining walls compared to the existing, and indeed compared to what was approved earlier, the retaining wall number is actually down.
It is.
The big increase, so we're not
It's-
arguing about retaining walls, the big increase comes in the patios and walks, right?
No, that is also reduced from the existing.
Right, but
It's-
compared to the plan 3 years ago, as Bruce said, it's a substantial increase.
Like you, I had no involvement with.
I understand.
So I know, I was told it was the best thing to do to bring up the old plans. I think it's hurting us instead of helping us.
No, it's just
I don't-
reflecting that we, at that time, in order to allow the change,
Right.
we asked for a reduction because you were already so far over coverage in this
Mhm.
area. And so that's just refreshing our recollection,
Right.
if you will, that
Right.
that's what we did last time. And I guess what I'm looking at is, I mean, I understand that the walls are existing, and I understand that they're nice, but I'm wondering if there's a way that we could, find some retaining wall that's not serving as much of a useful purpose, so that we don't continue to increase coverage, because that sets a bad precedent for us.
Well, I would love to be able to do that, but this could have been built as one wall instead of two, but it wasn't.
Would that
Because
matter?
this is retaining about 5 feet, and per code, we could have had one 5-foot wall instead of 2.5 feet wall. But if we were to go backwards and change that, that would require an entirely brand new wall at a significant cost to the owners. So if we were to go that route, it would be at a significant cost.
See,
Because it is retaining a lot. I mean, in just this area, there's six retaining walls getting you up through the property.
So
And-
are there other ways to get to the backyard besides this new staircase? How would you go to the backyard other than through the new staircase?
This,
No, the one on behind the parking.
this one, up here,
Yeah.
you,
I mean, currently, how do they get to their backyard?
right now, it's a curb and it's lawn and it just slopes away.
There's no back door.
There is, but the way that the grade and the way that the driveway is such that it slopes down. It's just, going back down the hill. When you come up, you go back down, when you pull your car in.
See, here's the thing, that I think the prior application, even though it's void because it wasn't followed through on, but what it demonstrates is, they put in an application, and I know it wasn't yours, but it was by another responsible outfit who appears there all the time.
Right, I
And the retaining wall number there, and the retaining wall number on existing, and the proposed retaining wall, they're all very similar.
Mhm.
1802, 1762, and 1749. That's not, I mean, that may be an issue for some of the members, but, I mean, to me, it's the patios and walks. If, in fact, in the prior application, they were willing and able to reduce those by 570 square feet, and now the reduction is cut in half, I mean, it sort of undercuts the argument that that's needed. See what I'm saying? If they could get by in 2015 with patios and walks
What,
at a 1664 number, why do they need the other 300 square feet today?
if I could find a way to reduce these gravel areas so that they could access the decorative bench, they can access their front door and access this, and this is also access means of egress to this terrace from these areas, so there's many, many points, but when functionally speaking, this bit right here could be reduced and changed.
Okay.
So we could probably gain back approximately 200, if I'm just throwing the number out, 200 square feet. When I was going through this, these were wider, these panels were smaller, everything has shrunk and shrunk and shrunk. To be able, I think this is only 3 feet wide, and as a path, that's very small. I know that it's going to be lawn, but they're almost like a formal lawn, which is what the client is interested in.
Yeah.
And then this is only like a 4-foot path in here, and also that, this is wide, because it's lining up with the existing stairs, and then we reduce that even further. We could probably reduce this and make the lawn panel fill these holes here, and still have a lovely design as well, and reduce the coverage by a couple hundred square feet.
Well, you're probably not in a position to offer that as a remedy this evening with your clients being out of town. I
I
mean,
mean,
maybe you're,
I'm sure they would say if we had approval and that's the change we have to make, I'm sure they would be like,
you know, but I mean, here's the thing, I mean, I detect some dubiousness among the board members. Maybe I'm misreading them, they're awfully hard to read sometimes. So that if we took a vote tonight, you might not get your 3 votes.
would dubious of,
Well, if we have to vote, it's gonna be yes or no.
right, no, I know, but what do we dubious of? Because, I mean, part of my job as a landscape architect is to make sure that what I'm giving my clients is functional. Currently, what they have is uncomfortable. It's you know, the parking situation, and which requires a wall to make it a little bit more comfortable and more user-friendly. And if that's what they're after, well, I'm here to try to give them exactly what they want to function, while trying to also produce and meet, you know, the requirements of the town.
So I guess I put it this way, if you were to come to us today and show us that design, we'd say it's lovely, but you can't have it because you're 125% coverage. So you're gonna have to live with hills that don't have retaining walls and flat ground. I live on Riverview Road, I got a big hill and not a lot of retaining walls, so it's possible, right? So that if you came here today and asked me to do that, I would say, no, that's too much, you have to reduce. And where, I guess, you know, we understand you get what you buy and you make minor changes to it. But I guess I'm dubious to the extent that I think it's, I mean, I have no business critiquing the design, it's a lovely design. I just don't know that it is the need for all of the walkways and retaining walls. I mean, you can trade retaining wall for pool.
If we really just back up 1 second, we have one a walkway, and a terrace. Everything else is wall. I mean, in the other that I believe counts, well, we've got these equipment pads for the pool, and we have existing, you know, impervious surface, and the steps count as that. There is a lot of hardscape, and in order to get to doorways, you need to be able to walk on something hard.
So what's that down below that?
This?
Yeah.
It's existing, it's an existing
That-
garden.
I understand that, but I'm just saying, I mean, people,
And this is
it's a lot of,
this is a 4-foot wall,
right,
this is a 4-foot wall,
right.
and there is, like I said before, there's 34 feet of grade change between this point and this point. So whoever owned this property and designed this previously retained this portion and this portion and this. If the clients were going to reverse that, they would lose all the flat space they already have, which is already segmented completely, so that these are not very usable spaces as it is.
Yeah. Usually when we have applications where the existing property is so far over coverage, except for extraordinary circumstances like safety almost, we're really looking for a reduction in coverage, right? I mean, generally speaking, even if it's a small one, we're not looking to increase.
I wasn't either, and I made some errors in my calculations, which by the time we got to here,
Yeah.
it was over. And because also I didn't know gravel counted, because it's my first time.
Right.
You know.
Right, they're all,
Okay,
all
but I mean,
kinds of
for
different.
Sarah's point, the last time, the overage when they walked into the room, as it is today, was 23.6%. It was 100% plus 23.6,
Mhm.
the number John gave us before.
Right.
And with the application as presented and approved, they had reduced that to 22.5, which is the kind of factor that we look at when you're starting off over 20% already,
Mm-hmm.
if we're going to approve it. And now, unfortunately, with this one, you're coming in and you're asking to go from 23.6 over to 28.5 over. And
And that's because they want a pool.
Right.
They want a lap pool.
yeah, I mean, if you take out the lap pool, you're in a much stronger position.
There's no addition if you gotta take out the lot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It all be a
So
reduction.
we're not telling you to do anything other than to
Because
suggest that you could.
otherwise, everything is reduced from the
Right.
existing.
And-
And then you add a pool, and it changes everything.
Right,
Right.
that's the problem. So, I guess what this comes down to is, And it's your choice. Do you want us to vote tonight, which could have, I'm not predicting the outcome, but it doesn't sound like it's going to be a cakewalk. Or put it off until September, and you and your clients will have to put your collective heads together and come back with what is really, the
If
smallest
I
amount.
could get it down to basically match existing, would we have a better chance?
Yes, you would have a better chance.
Okay.
Yeah.
As long as it isn't over existing.
Right. I mean, a token of lower coverage is always well received, but I couldn't tell you if it's the same, that you would be facing a negative battle.
Right, I'm just looking at what could be reduced. That's not going to cost them additional money.
Maybe a shorter lap on a lap pool.
I mean,
It's not a
42
very
feet,
big-
42 feet by 9
That's-
feet is like,
you're just getting started, that's less than 15, way less than 15
That's
meters.
right,
Yeah.
it's not that much.
right,
It may not be worth it. I mean,
that's not my decision.
no, it's not, but it's something to take up with them.
Um, okay.
The other thing, we keep talking about retaining walls, and I'm repeating myself, but I understand what was approved before is not anything you did, but somehow the patios and walks are only 16.64 there. So
Well,
I haven't looked at this.
Well, part of it is their design. You can't, they had planted the entire, that was all planting in here, and you wouldn't have been able to access this terrace from this space.
We actually asked about that, and they said that's what the clients wanted. I mean, I
Well, I guess
think they at least said they had discussed it.
I've been working with them since 2016 and finally have the final design to
Yeah.
permit it. So there's changes, people change their mind and they get new ideas and you have to work with them and,
Just so you know, the village is thinking, I think they may be beyond thinking, I think they're going to implement the rules that if you have an application before the zoning board on day one, you cannot put in another application for 5 years. So that people don't get to just change their minds all the time. I don't think it affects you, because I don't think it's in place yet, but
part of the problem
Going
is
forward.
when they fired the person that they were working with. So if that's the case and everything changes, then there needs to be some sort of provision for that.
well, no, it's the applicant that's.
But honestly, it's the applicant that's paying for it.
Sure. That should be the case. So, your choice, do you want us to vote tonight, or do you want to adjourn this till September?
I am thinking that you're encouraging me to wait until September.
Gee, I don't know.
And to use that time to bring down the coverage a little bit.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
what we're encouraging you to do.
Yeah.
Then I would rather do that than get notes on this.
Okay.
What do you require for a resubmission? Do we need to submit everything again or just a
Um,
revised zoning?
You know, it's not, for a resubmission, it would be new. So I think, if we simply adjourned it for some reason, like you had a doctor's appointment or something like that, you don't have to do anything the second time. If you're back the third time, then you have to resubmit. There's not going to be a meeting in August, so it would be the second time that you're changing your plans. I think you need to resubmit with the new plans. And the reason for that is so that everybody has a fair shot at reviewing them. I mean, there are no neighbors who have shown up either in 2015 or now,
I know,
and it's unlikely they will, but they've got a right to see what's there.
Yeah.
right,
So I would resubmit.
even though it's going to be fairly small change.
Oh, 300 square feet or there.
I can make that work. So it can't be it can't be a revision. Because to me,
What's the difference in your mind?
I just, a lot less money for my client to pay for new drawings and everything to be revised.
Well, you've got to give us new drawings that show what is actually going to be proposed the next time.
Right.
So I don't see how you avoid that.
And a revised chart showing the coverage.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
and we need to know specifically how the numbers change.
Well, absolutely.
Yeah,
Right, so it's not just the LP 1.1.
No, that was the key, because that's where most of the information we're interested in appears, but there'll be other changes in your documents as well. Okay?
well, it could almost be LP1, couldn't it?
Yeah.
1.1, yeah.
From my perspective, it
I don't think that anything else is necessary. It's really, if it's just reducing coverage and it's just adding back green or where we're taking away hardscape, the sign's not going to really change much.
Okay, well, just look at the other papers and make sure
Yeah.
what you say is correct. I'm not challenging that at all, you may be right.
And I'm not commenting on what's in the other papers, I'm simply saying from my perspective, if you revise this, I have enough to know what's going on. But Bruce's point is, anybody else may want the whole package. I'm just saying from my perspective, I'll be.
I mean, I don't know what this applies now. It seems to me that if your submission tells us exactly what's changing and how, that should be sufficient. But I'll leave that to you.
I think there should be a new diagram that shows.
Yes.
Yes, I mean, that's why I'm saying, I mean, this is basically access.
It's basically this page, but just
Right.
make sure, look at the other pages and make sure they're not affected.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay? All right, so
And do
we'll,
you know when is that submission?
When the meeting is?
Yeah. The meeting you said is September.
yeah, yes, I do have that.
It is
You said it's September 18th.
No, it's the 25th.
25th.
It's the 25th, and there is a date for submissions. Sarah Palermo in the village office.
I know, I constantly email her.
Okay. She will have the date, I think I have it right here, actually. The application to the clerk has to be in by September 10th,
Oh, okay.
and the notices have to be mailed to the neighbors by the 14th.
And the meeting's on the 25th?
Right. Now, this is a chart that Sarah gave us in November of last year.
Okay, I'll
But you,
confirm.
yeah, confirm is what I'm saying. Okay,
Yes.
I guess we're adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.